for another Own Your Career Job Search series. Today we'll be talking about maximizing a LinkedIn profile. A little overview. So we're going to go over the profile itself, including picture, headline, summary, resume, and then group interests, networking, using the skills and assessments, doing endorsements and recommendations, providing content, general tips, and then we'll look at some examples of excellent LinkedIn profiles. A little bit about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the world's largest professional network on the internet. So think of this like a social media platform, but for professional content. So it's going to be a little bit more tailored than like your Facebook or your Twitter, or Instagram, that sort of thing. You can use LinkedIn to find jobs, internships, connect to other professionals, strengthen professional relationships, do some different skills and skill development workshops. You can use it on a computer or on a mobile device. Essentially, it is exactly like having a Facebook, Twitter, etc. account, but this is really geared towards developing a professional image and professional brand and building a professional network. So a little bit about profile pictures. So there are two different picture options for your profile. You have your regular profile picture. So think of this as like your profile picture for like a Facebook. Then you have your background picture, and your background picture is similar to the heading picture at the top of your Facebook page. So for your profile picture, it should be a headshot. Your face should be the focus and should be nearly 60% of the image. You want to be able to connect your face and your name together for people. So it should be a close up of your face and you should be looking forward. You want to make sure that this is a higher quality photo. This is one of the things that's setting the initial tone for people that are looking for you or looking at you professionally. And these could include people that are looking to hire somebody with your skill set. There are some debates on if it should be a quote unquote professional headshot, as in business attire, taken by a professional photographer, etc. Uh, it can be something more personal depending on what kind of field you're getting into, what you have access to. People do recommend that you wear what you would wear to work. Um, and thinking like the business attire, button down shirt, that sort of thing. Most profiles do feature professional headshots, but I think you need to decide for yourself based on what kind of work you're looking to do and what you want to communicate to potential future employers or coworkers. Profiles with good quality profile pictures do receive 40% more in mail response rate. What that means is that they receive 40% more uh, direct messages or response to messages. Now, that background picture, like I said, is like a header. It's a second visual cue or element to showcase who you are and what you value. It's not required. So, in some of the examples, we'll see just kind of some different style choices that people made. The next thing on your profile is your headline. So, this is about 120 characters that you can use to kind of draw people in to get them to look at more of your profile. So, think of this as setting the tone. This is like your tagline, your catch, your hook. Some people just put their job title, their current job title, but you can expand it. There's nothing that says that those 120 characters have to be your job title. So, some tips that are out there, LinkedIn will actually offer you an opportunity to help make a summary, which is different than the headline. But when you look at the things that they suggest for your summary, they're about the right length and kind of the right tone to help make your headline. We'll fill it in with information based on the rest of your profile. So you'll want to look at that option after you've completed the rest of your profile. If you want to really catch people, you need to do more than just your job title. Show how you see your job or the things that you value. Showcase some of the things that make you unique in those quick 120 characters. Some people recommend that you ask a friend to describe you and use some of their feedback to write your summary or to write your tagline and make it personal. Now, the summary itself, think of this as more like an about me. This is where you get to tell your story. This is the area that is most personal to you. You have roughly 2,000 characters, so it may be worth writing out a couple of times, a couple different versions of what you want to say to make sure that you're saying what you want, that it's portraying what you want to portray, and that you're giving an opportunity for potential employers, coworkers, etc., to figure out a little bit more about who you are beyond just your job experience. So some things that you can consider to include are how you feel your work has been impactful, how your skills impact the way you do your work, or how your skills impact the people that you work with. things that you are unique about you as a potential employee, coworker, etc. Your passions and values. You can highlight key accomplishments that you're most proud of here. And it's important to write it in your own voice and showcase a little bit of your personality. So the resume portion. I say resume, that's not really what it's called. It's broken down into essentially the components of a resume. So experience, education, volunteer experience, skills, awards, etc. So for your experience, this is just like any resume. Um, but some important things that are different than just writing a resume is in LinkedIn, you'll be able to connect to your previous employers. And what that does is when you select them from the drop down menu, um, one, their logo will appear on your screen, and two, you'll start automatically connect to their network. So when people are looking at you, looking at some of the jobs you've had, or looking for other connections in their network, it will help connect you and them, and you and other potential companies and employers based on some of those. Um, it's also important to add some details to your experience to highlight your key job responsibilities, but this doesn't have to be everything you did. Similar to your resume, you're going to want to highlight the things that you feel are most important for what you're looking to do next. Your education, similar, you can connect to the schools that you attended. That way, you'll be able to see their network. You'll show up in those circles if somebody searches that school in connections. It just gives you another opportunity to increase your potential for networking. Similar with your volunteer experience, to your work experience, you can connect to those volunteer organizations, put in a little information about what you did with them. Probably the largest section on most people's profiles is the skills section. So you can select various skills that you think are your top skills or your most valuable skills. There are a ton that are preloaded. So as you start typing, they'll start popping up for you to select from a list, but you can also type in others if they're not showing up. Um, I think you get about 40 total skills. So you want to make sure that you're constantly in there editing them as you're doing different job searches, or if you feel that you've developed new skills that might be more beneficial. There is the opportunity to select the skills that you feel are your most valuable skills and highlight those specifically. So most people recommend a top 10 or a top five. There's also opportunity to add sections for awards, certifications, presentations, and publications. Make sure you're always including any awards that you receive, highlight any certifications that you hold or licenses that you hold, and share information about any presentations you've given or publications that you've authored. In your profile, when you go to start it, it does offer you the opportunity to connect to groups. You don't have to do it right away. You can always go back and add or remove yourself from different groups. You can also showcase your interest in a similar fashion. So things that you follow, things that you're interested in. These can be professional or vocational interest, as well as some personal or avocational interest. And so professionally interested in curriculum development, if you're in education, with a personal interest in gardening. Uh, Showcasing these interests can help showcase your passions, values, and areas that you may be able to offer additional support to a potential employer. With the groups, they're similar to Facebook. You can join groups that are displayed on your profile. By joining groups, you can continue to grow your network. You can find like minded individuals, also have an area of support as far as continuing to learn and grow or increase your knowledge, stay on top of trends and current events, that sort of thing. So you can join groups that highlight the field that you are in, or maybe a field that you're hoping to transition into, or if there's like a specific subgroup that you're interested in, or connecting with like different identity groups, there's opportunities to do that as well. Networking. So LinkedIn is all about networking. By adding your education, past employers, volunteer experience, you can help build your network and help start building connections. Um, So the more people that have that specific work history or with that company, or attended that specific institution or school, you'll be able to see the people that are connected with that and be able to find other people to connect with through that shared experience. By joining groups, you can also add other people from the group as connections. You can find people that you can follow through groups as well. Similar to like Twitter, you can follow LinkedIn influencers or people that are in your field or a field that you're interested in, people that are making waves or that are setting the tone. Um, there are ways that you can follow those people as well to see the things that they're posting and continue to develop some of your own knowledge and connections. You can always connect with friends, current coworkers, and former coworkers. There is an option specifically through the LinkedIn app on mobile devices to connect your address book. So it'll pull people that you have in your address book to connect with as well. Something else you can do is you can follow companies that you're interested in, either working for or learning more about, or that you think are doing really interesting things. By following them, you can connect with their network. You can stay on top of if they're putting up job postings, all sorts of stuff. And then you can join and follow professional organizations through LinkedIn. Um, and LinkedIn also offers a number of virtual learning opportunities that you can connect with and continue to network through by those that are attending those learning opportunities with you, as well as those that are presenting. Something unique about LinkedIn is you have the opportunity to do what are called skill assessments. You can complete various skill assessments offered um, that deal with technical skills, job specific skills, and some interpersonal skills. These skill assessments can help boost your skill section by showcasing to employers that you have a verified skill. Um, Additionally, you can complete skill assessments that may not be in an area that you're comfortable or confident with to see if maybe you know more than you think you do, or see how much you want to improve, or gain an understanding of what areas you might need improvement. Along with skills, there's also the ability to endorse skills or have skills endorsed. So after you add skills to your profile, people can go in and endorse those skills. So if somebody knows you really well, has worked with you, or has been to a presentation that you've given, any of that, they can go into your LinkedIn and they can endorse a skill. That's kind of like liking the skill. So they're saying that they agree that you're really good at um, that specific thing. So, like if you were doing a presentation and somebody who attended your presentation thought you did really well, they could endorse public speaking as a skill for you. By having people endorse your skills, that shows on your profile how many people and who have endorsed your skill, each skill that has endorsements. So that's just another thing to just showcase what you're good at and provide some additional validity to the skill set that you bring. You can ask people within your network that you've worked with to provide endorsements for you. Uh, I do encourage that if you do that, you also go and endorse their skill sets. It shows that you're active and that you can show that you value people you know and you've worked with. And it's important to continue to build up each other. Along the same vein, there's a section to provide recommendations. Recommendations are viewable on your profile, both recommendations that people have made for you and recommendations that you've made for others. You can ask people to provide recommendations for you. On the profile itself, there's actually a button that lets you ask, and you can use a default message or you can create a personalized message asking for recommendations. Similar with endorsements, if you ask for recommendations, I also encourage that you make recommendations for others as well. Just like other social media platforms, you can create and share content. So similar to Facebook, there's a feed when you first log in, so you can see what people you're following or you're connected to have posted. You can also post content and share their content. All of your activity is viewable by others and is a part of your brand. So anything that you share, you want to make sure that it reflects the image that you're trying to portray professionally. So you can share things that are posted by others or by places that you follow or companies. That could be job postings, that could be announcements, that could be unique articles or perspectives on things. You can also create your own content about things that you do, services you offer, presentations or publications that you've made, or whatever you're thinking about, or your opinion on something that somebody else has already posted. It's important to comment and engage with content of others as well. That can help you continue to build your network. It also helps show that you're engaged and active in your learning and you're connecting to others. Some general tips. The first is to be active, engage with others, recommend, endorse, comment, post, manage your network, and keep things updated. So this can be your endorsements, your skill set, your recommendations. If there's specific things that you want people to know about you, or if there's something new, a new job, a new title, some new responsibilities that you would like to add, it's important to stay on top of maintaining your page. Avoid using vague buzzwords. There was a study done by LinkedIn to see what the buzzwords are the most common that they see. So words like specialized, leadership, certified, innovative, focused, strategic, passionate, expert, and creative. While you can include these words and use them in your profiles, it's important that your work in your description demonstrate why those words apply to you. Anybody can type them, but you need to show why they fit who you are, the work that you've done, and what you plan to do in your future. Another thing recommended is to customize your web address. Make it personal to you, such as your name or something more on brand and easy to find or remember. The way you can go about doing that is you go to your profile, you click edit profile, and then click edit right under your photo and type in what you want your customized URL to be. Okay, so now we're going to look at some examples. Okay, so I've got a couple profiles for us to look over just to get an idea of how some different people have set up their accounts. Um, and a few of these people are in marketing, some are in leadership. There's a variety of fields. Most of them are considered to be some of the best and most complete LinkedIn profiles. As you're creating your profile, LinkedIn will actually help you make sure that you have a fully developed profile or what's called an all-star profile as you add content. Right. So we see here we have his name. He's got some of his certifications here. We have a headshot that's a professional headshot. He's in the center. He takes up most of the image. He has a background uh, that's in both English and French. He's got a link to his personal website. You can see his connections, his title here. That's not his current job title necessarily, but talks a lot about who he is. You can also see how you're connected or how far out removed you are in your network. So him and I are connected directly. There's tons of, just like every other social media, there's tons of other things on the side, personalized ads, people you may know, people and pages that are closely related to um, the page that you're on based on the content that they have and share. We have his about here. It looks like he has some pretty well developed content. We can see his activity, how many followers he has, and then his work experience. So here he has a list of the clients that he's worked with and the company that he works at, a little blurb about what he's done at some of the different places that he's worked. And you can also add content that showcases some of your work. So that could be videos, that could be images. There's some different options. He has his education as well as his degrees, some certificates, his volunteer experience. Then we get down to his skills and endorsements. So here we can see his top 3 skills that he selected, how many people endorsed him, and some of the different people that have endorsed him and where they're from. And then recommendations. So he has one recommendation he hasn't given, and you can see who it is, where they're from, when they gave it, and what the content is. This is the button I mentioned about when you can ask for a recommendation. So you can select your relationship to them, you can select your position from your profile, and then you can make it more personalized. You can also write your recommendation. Then he's got some accomplishments here, the different languages that he speaks, some courses that he's completed, and then this interest section. So this is the interest in the groups that he's a part of. So you can see the influencers, the companies, groups, and schools. So when you add your company or your school that you work with, they'll automatically drop into your interest as well. So something else that I forgot to mention, so you can message people, you have direct messaging, just like Facebook Messenger or Instagram DMs. You can talk to them, you can connect with companies, people, organizations, that sort of thing. You can do it from here as well. You can also go look at different job postings. You can see who all is connected to your network and find other people. So just another look at another profile. So this is a marketing professional. So her headline, she just has her title or like the field that she works in. We have her picture. We have an image here that um, is of Chicago. She did some bullet points for her about to kind of highlight some of her skills, some of her interests, a little bit about who she is and the work that she does, her activity. And we can see here that she just has her job titles when she worked. And down here, she's got a little bit more information about some of her positions. Um, Her education, you can see that she added a little bit more specific about some courses that she took that she felt were important for her profile and to highlight that knowledge base. And then her endorsements, and we can see all of the skills that she selected and how many times they've been endorsed. So her top three. Then we have her industry knowledge, how they've been endorsed, her tools and technology, her interpersonal skills, and her other skills. So we see here that she's been given um, one recommendation, or she's received one recommendation, and she's given two recommendations, her different accomplishments, and then her different interests. Right, so here we have an author. So this is um, somebody else to look at here. So they have a slightly different profile than the other two we've seen. Here we see the book that they've most recently published and some information about where it's been mentioned. And then her headline is a little bit more specific about some specific types of things that she's done and enjoys doing. So we have a career and business life coach. She's an author of the book that we see there and a stress reduction expert. So she has a kind of hybrid. She has some bullet points here, a link to where you can find her book, and um, some information or some feedback or a review about her book there. And then she has some posting that she's done. So she shared a post that somebody else put up that promotes her book. She's also created some content. And here we can see where she's added some different things to highlight some of her work at the different companies she's worked at. As we can see here, she has slightly fewer skills than the last profile that we looked at. This means that she's being a little bit more targeted with the skill set that she's trying to put forward. So it could be that she wants to make sure that her skills match the business or the field that she's going into and wants to narrow some of the field or the people that are looking at her profile a little bit more. You can see that she's received a number of recommendations and has given out a number of recommendations for different publications, languages, and then projects. Right, so here we have somebody that's doing something a little bit more creative with their profile. So they have their picture, it's still predominantly them, but we can tell that they're more in the creative industry or creative field. Based on the type of picture that they're using, this would be appropriate for being in a creative field and their background as well. Their headline here, it's very short, but I think it gets to the point of who they are and what they're doing. So we can see a lot of their information. They've made it very tailored to them. It's longer than the other ones we've seen, but it's very short chunks to highlight who they are, the skills they bring, and why their skills are important. So again, we can see their featured content. This is something that they created. And we can see more of their activity, their work history. Yeah, and then accomplishments. So they put more effort into their accomplishments than some others. So LinkedIn can be a really powerful tool, similar to other social media. You can really use it to develop your professional image and your professional brand, as we saw with some of those examples there. So thank you for joining us, and I hope that this helps you get started really building out your LinkedIn profile. It can take some time, but it can be very worth it. Thank you for joining the Suffolk Public Library for Own Your Career Job Searching.